You have a singular political talent. It's undeniable. Trump, he had the energy and almost a sense of fearlessness to just say all those kinds of things. I never believed that it was about fascism. And for me, that made it difficult for
Kamala Harris said that he was a fascist.
Yeah, well, it's like that's her prerogative. I mean, but it's not a word that I would use, because you put a lot of Democrats, especially in my state, that I know and I happen to love people that are going to vote for Trump, and they are not fascists.
That's not what Harris said. Like, the argument you're making doesn't actually address what people were saying. They were identifying what the movement is intended to be, not why every individual person perhaps will support it. So frustrations with some of his difficulty in either understanding the argument or responding to it in a rational fashion. I just want to also mention that in that weird veneration of Trump's political acumen or whatever, that he comes out and says the difficult things. As someone in the chat mentioned, he gave a blowjob to a mic stand is what he did in the closing days of the campaign. He swayed as Ave Maria was played for 45 minutes is what he did. He didn't accurately, honestly diagnose real problems. Why are you giving him credit for things he doesn't remotely deserve? But anyway, Fetterman also said, I'm not rooting against him. If you're rooting against the president, you're rooting against the nation. And I'm not ever going to be where I want a president to fail, so country first. Sort of fighting back against what some people who don't support Trump might say, in that they want him to fail. Now, many would say they want him to fail because what he aims to do is terrible and will be really damaging to a lot of communities. But I understand that maybe there's a rhetorical disagreement to have here, Garrison. What do you make of what Fetterman is saying there?
I mean, this comes back to reading a book. Read a history book. There have been plenty of presidents who, if we were living in their time, we should probably be rooting against them. I think about the people who are leading the Trail of Tears, Andrew Jackson and others. You should probably be rooting against that guy. You should probably have rooted against Woodrow Wilson. I could go down the list. But my point is that just because the person is president does not mean that they actually have the best interests of the citizenry in heart and in mind. And so rooting against their efforts is actually kind of a positive thing. It's actually what you do as an elected official when you vote against a bill. And I'd have to go back through the voting roll, but I'm pretty sure he voted against one of those budgets just a few days ago. And so it's kind of, I feel like, Fetterman, for all that he brings to the table, I always wonder if he's ever had a good take. I just don't know. I really am waiting for him to have like a really solid, good take on something like this. I know he represents some portion of the American people, and so it's worth actually hearing what he has to say. But I also think it's really, really, really kind of misguided to frame Trump in these kind of morally neutral ways, given the plans that he's advanced.
Yeah. And given the people around him and our history of him, this is not hypothetical anymore. We know who he is when he's in power. It's just very frustrating. I agree with you there. When you click the join button and become a tier 2 member, you get access to all of our weekly top 10 lists. What are you waiting for?